Welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. We defeated the third gym leader, so off into another long route, which will thankfully take us to the daycare area.
Great.
Oh, you see, I never would have thought that guy would give you the good rod, because normally it's like in a house or whatever. But...
Yeah.
Oh, did you skip the old rod?
Yeah, why? I don't need a freaking Magikarp.
But Magikarp.
Ooh. There, you guys got it.
Yay.
Alrighty.
Gotta pick my berries.
You're not using them.
Well,
they're useful for curing status ailments and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I'd rather get berries for free than have to buy, like, awakenings and stuff like that. I mean,
That's true.
I mean, normally what I do at the beginning of the game, because status healing stuff is pretty cheap, is I'll buy, like, 10 of each, except for Burn Heal and Ice Heal, because that never comes up, ever. So, you don't have to worry about it.
By the time burning could potentially be a problem, you get full heals.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, full heals were really only necessary in Gen 1 and Gen 2 when you didn't have the space in your bag to keep one of everything. So it was just like, okay, it's there so that I can keep these in my bag and deal with any status effect versus needing... Like, we live in the world with infinite bag now, though. So it's like, okay, these are... I can just buy all of the different kinds and be alright. I mean, I guess full heals are more cost-effective by the time you get to the end game. Then that's true. So you can just buy full heals for the rare status effects. And
having a status effect healing item that heals all status effects at once is a lot more efficient in a game where you're routinely hit with more than one status effect at once.
But that just can't happen in Pokemon, though.
Yeah.
If you're paralyzed, you can't get poisoned.
Yeah.
At the same time.
We're not. What the hell? What?
It's become self-aware. Oh, it's just a child.
Oh. Okay.
Look out! It's top tier.
It's okay.
Well, not anymore. 3.1. 3.1.
It's so.
Well, I mean, isn't it? It's still really good. It's just not as.
Pikachu's better than it now.
It's kind of dazzling. This game has finally done something actually kind of memorable and charming, and it's done. It's gone.
Well, I mean, Gen 1 did that same thing, though.
Did it?
Yeah, with Bill, where you just walk into the house and he's like, "Hi, I'm Bill," and you're talking to a Clefairy, and it's like, what? So.
I forgot.
And you never find out what happened to the Clefairy in the other pod. It's dead.
We don't ask.
What I meant though was talking to someone who looks like a Pokemon sprite on the field, and then you go into battle and it's a kid in a costume.
Yeah, I would like more. I think part of the thing is that this is not really plausible in the old games. This is something that they could probably do now, but they probably won't because it would take a lot of money and effort. You know, is having each character have a unique design. That's never going to happen. Like, they're not going to give every trainer you run into a unique design because there's hundreds of them. And, you know, they have trouble fitting all the Pokemon in the game, so, you know, how are they going to get the
I'm
trainers
kind
in
of like, you know, a little ambivalent about that excuse because, like, it's not like there's not a lot of space on a goddamn Switch cart. The real limiter to data size right now is that they kind of want Switch games to be small enough to download.
You know, the thing about it, though, is that Game Freak, if you look up how Sun and Moon are coded, Game Freak wastes a lot of space.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's... There's a different model for Lily in every cutscene.
That's not as uncommon a problem as you'd think, but it's a little weird to see in such a low graphics intensive game.
Yeah, but it's like, again, like, there being different models for, like, Lily's different outfits is one thing, but it's like Lily with the sunflower, with the sun hat and stuff. It's like the same model, but just a completely different copy of it underneath the map in every area, and it's just like, why don't you just... I'm not a programmer. There might be a perfectly good reason for that, but...
No, according to basically anyone who's looked at it, they just waste a ton of space.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant. You can make a model and then have variables programmed into it that load in different things on top of the model, and that costumes are it's the most basic way to use that.
Or I just wonder why they don't just load the same model from memory instead of having to have a different one.
Because they're really shit programmers.
So
like even on the E3 stuff for Sword and Shield, you could see the clouds pop in for the Dynamaxing.
No, I'm pretty sure like Steelix pops in at one point, and I hate nitpicking because there are a lot of people who are being assholes about it, but at the same time there are a lot of graphic stuff that are very rough in that demo, and it's disappointing because the idea of what they were doing with the wild area is what I wanted from a Pokemon game, which is like an environment that feels open, that you can explore at your own pace. Like, that's what I wanted, but it just looks very, very, very rough around the edges, and I'm normally okay with that. Like, I like a lot of weird-ass games that are very rough around the edges, but I feel like you kind of have a higher standard with a game of this size. Like a franchise as big as Pokemon. I feel like it's
there's not an excuse.
Game Freak
or not a good excuse. At least.
Game Freak needs to kind of like bring in some better talent.
Sadly so.
Yeah. So you know what? Maybe Gen 8 will be. Well, no.
But there's a
Gen 9.
a bit of a catch. Is it catch 22? I think it's catch 22.
I think so.
Yeah, but like bit of a catch 22 there is I get the feeling that a lot of the people who would be talented enough to do what they want to do don't want to be stuck making Pokemon games every year.
It's like I'm not sure what's going to happen, because I'm sure Sword and Shield are going to sell plenty. Like,
it's Pokemon. They're going to.
And boycotts, like especially internet boycotts, don't have a history of turning out great. So, and I'm sure that all the people complaining, or at least a good majority of them, are going to buy the game anyway. So, great job sticking by your point there, guys. Like, you sure showed them by being angry on the internet for a few months and then giving them your money anyway. Good job, internet. But the only thing that I think will drastically change stuff is, like, scathing review scores, which I don't think will happen because, Sword and Shield looks rough, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a terrible game.
The thing is that, no matter how middling some aspects of each generation are, there's always tons of satisfaction to be found in these very familiar, very fun gameplay loops that we call Pokemon. And,
Pokemon's a strong base concept, and even the worst Pokemon games are still kind of fun to play.
Yeah, we could complain tons about Platinum and the games that it was basically fixing, but it's still Pokemon. It's still just as fun as it's ever been. It's just the details along the way aren't quite as solid as they might have been in a previous generation or the generation that came after.
I think I should stress for the people at home who think that I spend every day cursing Gen 4 and everything it stands for. It's like, no, this game's playable. You can play and beat it.
It's kind of like, okay, to compare it to another franchise. Like, the Resident Evil games are great. Code Veronica is less great and has a really annoying boss fight in the middle. But, you're still going to have fun playing through it if you like Resident Evil.
Pokemon has yet to have a Sonic 06, is the thing. And I think it would take an actual Sonic 06 to drastically change direction, and Sword and Shield might have rough points, but it's not gonna be Sonic 06. So, or if it is, I will be very, very surprised. So, hi, Barry. Bye, Barry.
Bye, Barry.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. It could end up being great. Who knows? I'd love for it to be great, actually. Like, I don't
want a game to be bad, but I'm going to call it like it is.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to purposefully buy a game that's not good just to complain about it, unless if it's Sonic, because that's my goddamn job now. and I'm really, really sad at how my life has turned out. But that's the case. So, okay, you know what? This is actually an area where I feel like I can explain what I'm talking about right now. Like, this is supposed to be a ranchy type town, you know? But the only thing that denotes that this is a ranchy type town is that the houses are brown and they wear cowboy hats, you know? There's nothing about this area that makes it look like a ranch.
Yeah,
whereas if you compare to Flossisi Town in Gen 5, does a much better job because there's specific types of grass and the environment looks much more like a ranch.
Wouldn't you like?
By the way, Ted, speaking of unknown earlier,
if this were like a ranchy town, oh god, if this were like a ranchy town, wouldn't like it make sense to have fenced off areas with like mill tanks roaming around?
They kind of have that. Like in the main town, there was like kind of something like that with like the Baneri, and like I think it was something. It was to the left or whatever.
Show some farmland. I mean, if you have a town like this, it's a prime opportunity to answer the age-old question of okay, where does the food that these people eat come from?
Yeah, but it's you know it's a pretty like again it's very bare looking is the thing.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to think it's a ranch because the people wear cowboy outfits, but that's all that they have, you know. And it's like, okay, they have log cabins too, but you know, the rest of it is the same trees and grass we've seen the entire time. So
oh god, I think I'm learning how to read unown because like I think I recognized a few words there.
I don't know. Oh god, you know, what's annoying about Pokemon is that they have more than one dumb secret language. You know, because in Gen 2 they introduced Unknown, so it's like, okay, it's a dumb secret language, but at least, you know...
It thematically makes sense.
It's just like... And then they bring Braille in for Gen 3 out of nowhere, and I'm not saying Braille is like a dumb language in general, because blind people should read too, but it's more like, why is Braille in a video game?
What, are we supposed to read Braille in text format?
Yes.
That's not what Braille's for.
I know.
This is not how it works.
That's why it's dumb.
It's not how it. That's not. Why?
Yeah. Because Game Freak, I don't know.
Braille is Braille because it's easier to read with your fingers than your eyes. Yeah,
like I think. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher the history of Braille, but I think they might have tried having the bumps be shaped like letters at one point, but the symbols are faster to read.
Yeah, it's like Braille is like each letter is a series of raised bumps in a specific space, and like you can tell from like where the bumps are in that space what the letter's supposed to be or something. I don't remember the example that Matt Murdock gave when he was explaining it in Daredevil. But
that's the thing I was thinking of too.
The point is, it's not something that you can that you can easily visually identify.
I think like the instruction manuals came with a translation guide because so it's just like, okay kids, remember this for later, and you're like, when's Braille gonna pop up in Pokemon? And you're like